We've got the updated Ford Maverick Hybrid.
Can we buy this, please? Please. That's right.
There you go, Zach. Pretty peppy.
It is pretty peppy, and it's quite different this year because they've changed things up. And for a mid-cycle refresh, they've done a lot.
Yeah.
Andrea, what's under the hood of this thing?
A 2.5 liter four-cylinder with a hybrid system. It's matched to an eCVT and gets a combined 191 horsepower. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are now available on the hybrid all-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's the big change. Also, they still have the gas model. It's a 2-liter EcoBoost with an 8-speed automatic transmission, a powerful unit too. 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. That's standard all-wheel drive in Canada. In the US, you can get front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options. Today, we're focusing on the new hybrid.
Now there is a new Lobo gas model that adds a 7-speed quick shift transmission and advanced four-wheel drive, as well as a new Tremor Maverick gas model with an 8-speed automatic transmission and four-wheel drive.
And ever since the Maverick came out, it's been an absolute smash hit. A lot of people will be excited that the hybrid now has all-wheel drive. So we're focusing on the hybrid. What does it get? What are the key standard features?
The base trim comes with an 8-inch digital driver display, a 13.2-inch touchscreen with Sync 4, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 6-speaker audio system, keyed ignition, remote keyless entry, 6-way manual driver's seat, a 4-way manual passenger seat, bucket front seats, cloth upholstery, single zone manual air conditioning, and a manual tailgate lock.
Well, if you're new around here, when we drove the Maverick Hybrid when it first came out, I wanted it. I wanted that specific truck. We didn't get it. And now this one's here, and I want this specific truck. But you know who else wants this? The Motormouth bros. Our boys also do videos on the channel. They drove this, and they wanted, especially our electrician son, Charlie.
He absolutely loves it. So you guys wait for that video to come out. It'll come out after this one, shortly after, but he's such a huge fan. One being he likes the space, he likes the headroom. Anyway, they're going to talk all about that, but I'm just impressed with the way that this handles. It's a great city runaround. It's versatile. It's smooth. It's peppy. You know, a combined 191 horsepower, you might think the numbers aren't enough, but let me tell you, it's great in the city, and even on the highway, it's pretty good.
Oh, Andrew, that's our hot topic coming up a little bit later. Is it good enough for the highway? It's all because it is a hybrid, and it does have electric motors that work, so you get that good launch torque. I'm going to show you a little clip of the front-wheel drive one that came out originally. Andrea scooting away. And you hear the front wheels sort of let loose a little bit. You don't have that now because you've got the power going to all four wheels. It gets down the power more efficiently. And just even for resale value, if you're in the market, spring for the all-wheel drive one.
And you know, that was the biggest complaint when the Maverick came out, is that people wanted all-wheel drive. Well, Ford took care of that. Now there's just so many more options. And if you want the gas model with more power, go for it. But you're certainly not going to get the fuel economy that this gets. The all-wheel drive model doesn't get as great a fuel economy as the front-wheel drive model, which is typical, but still excellent fuel economy.
Riddle me this, Andrea.
Yeah.
I claim this. I'll ask you. Is this a compact SUV replacement?
Yes.
I think people are buying these instead of buying a compact SUV because you get a room for 4, maybe 5 in a pinch, great fuel economy, in a known brand, and by the way, you get a little pickup truck at the same time.
I'd be so happy if this was my daily driver. I really like it a lot. Our whole family is just such a huge fan of Maverick.
So as pickup trucks have gotten bigger, like the mid-size class, like the Ranger, used to be this tiny little pickup truck, and then they made it bigger. So Ford was smart. They brought in a new model that goes underneath all of those, but instead of making a body-on-frame pickup truck like Ranger, they decided to go for what's called a unibody or a car platform. This is essentially the Ford Escape platform with a bed on the back, but it delivers on so many levels.
Well, I think that's what's so great about it, is that it feels like you're driving an SUV. I mean, I don't even know that I've got a bed in the back. It just feels more like an SUV, and that is what is really appealing to people. It's not a body on frame SUV or a pickup truck.
All right, Andrea, we're getting up to highway speeds now. The shtick doesn't change. And by the way, the sale continues. The Motormouth summer sale continues. What do you need to do?
Well, you got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
So subscriptions are free for the summer, and we do this, the Couple Car Review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe. That makes the biggest difference for us. Andrea's on the highway now.
I'm ready to kick it.
It makes a little bit of noise.
Gets louder in the cabin.
And it's got an eCVT.
Yeah.
But you have to get your head around the fact that it's not a 5-liter V8 F-150.
No.
It's just a good, compact, really compact utility.
Which is what people want today. They want good fuel economy. They're looking at fuel efficiency. So it makes a lot of sense. Now this has an L mode, which is a low gear mode. It's great for towing, off-roading. It kind of controls your braking. And so this low gear mode, it just slows down the braking. So if you're in stop and go traffic, that's really helpful. For me and for Zach, you know, we drive a lot of different EVs. We're used to regen braking, but the boys actually commented that they felt like it was jerky. When Charlie got in the car with me, he realized that maybe he just needed more experience with regen braking, which makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so I have to hand it to Ford. This is a mid-cycle refresh for this unit. It's only been out for a few years. They came hard with an updated powertrain, those sort of performance models you can get like the Lobo. And then on the outside, they added a unique front bumper that kind of turns up to the headlamps where the headlamps were before. Takes a little while to get used to. I think this model pretty much is what I would order. Same color. I don't like the black package, but other than that, this is what I would get.
I actually don't mind the black package at all. I know Zach doesn't love black wheels, but I think it looks pretty cool with this exterior color combo. This has 8.1 inches of ground clearance, and the payload is 1,500 pounds. It is a 4.5 foot bed, but if you extend it and put the tailgate down, it actually brings you up to 6 feet. That's a pretty good size.
Yeah, and people are using this for occasional use, going to Home Depot, the garden center, going to the dump, which is what I use it for all the time. And yeah, it's just a practical thing to have, and I want one.
Now, if you want push button start, you've got to move up to the XLT model, otherwise you're getting a key. Now, some won't be bothered by a key, but if you're used to having push button start going from one vehicle to the next, you might just want to move up to that XLT model. The Maverick comes standard with a black mesh grille, LED reflector headlamps, the flex bed storage system, 17-inch steel wheels, available 19-inch wheels. Also, other available features include LED tail lamps, a power tailgate lock, power sliding rear window, LED box lighting, and a mini spare tire.
We're going to talk about the interior in just a second. One thing I forgot to mention, I can clearly remember that sort of ready one we had, the orangey one. The hybrid system was noisier, and now I've noticed that this seems quieter, so that's a good thing. The interior, we're going to talk about the big screen more coming up in just a moment in Questions, Coffee, and Cars, but the rest of the interior outside of the screen really is carried forward.
Yeah, it's quite a unique interior. Ford could have gone with something like what the Ranger has or similarities to the F-150, but they went with a totally different look. It's got this cool vibe, comes standard with cloth upholstery, available leatherette, which we have on our test model, and I really like the navy and gray color combo.
Now, there is a lot of hard plastic in here, but I will give Ford credit. They came out with contrasting colors, different textures, and they've made it look visually, when you see it on the camera, you don't look at it and go, that looks cheap. And even when you're in it, it doesn't look or feel cheap. It just is done to keep the cost down. And that's why I love Maverick. People would say, well, Zach, you also like the 2.7 liter turbo Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like 60 grand.
Yeah.
This is way cheaper. That's why it speaks to my inner Scottishness.
Just a more affordable option for a pickup truck if you want that versatility. But I agree with Zach, the mix of materials in here are really great. Even though there is a lot of hard plastic, it's still, I don't know, it's kind of got this quirky looking interior design. It has an available 8-way power driver seat,
Which is good, yeah.
but it also has an available 6-way manual passenger seat, and you get a height adjustment even though it's the ratchet system. And I think that more brands should add a height adjustment, especially if there's a petite person sitting. You don't want to be so low to the ground.
It's interesting though, I mean, it's not that big a vehicle. The door cards don't have a lot of space to put stuff. You can put your water bottle in there, which is probably what most people use it for anyway, but I like to throw junk in there, not a lot of room. Center console is really well laid out. You've got your rotary shifter, that's what Ford does. And then you've got some nice screens, and we're going to talk about the big one here in a moment, but a digital instrument cluster, is that on standard now?
Yeah, standard, an 8-inch digital instrument cluster, and then even this screen, 13.2 inches, is standard.
That's very well done. There's a lot of different trims, so a lot of available features. They include a wireless charger, 360-degree camera, navigation, 8-speaker B&O sound system, which thumps, heated front seats, a heated steering wheel, a moonroof, and ambient lighting.
B&O sound system is terrific in this model. We've got a GTI with the Harman Kardon sound system. We also have other vehicles that we own with Bose, and this is by far superior to those.
Okay, before I get in the back seat, I want to show you that yes, the rear seat does lift up and there is extra storage space. It's not a ton. Okay, now I get in. You can see that the legroom isn't that great. It's a small truck and headroom isn't huge, but the seats are pretty comfortable. How does it stack up?
The Maverick offers 42.8 inches of front row legroom, and second row legroom is coming in at 35.9 inches.
A lot of interest in this screen. Let's get to your questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
How does the rear seat room in the Maverick compare to the Ranger?
Well, neither of them is big in the back seat. And if you want more legroom, you're going to get an F-150, one of those crew. I always get them mixed up with the names for the different brands. Crew cab, I think.
Yeah.
Huge legroom in those. So this is tight.
Yep.
But you found a surprising fact.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, although the Ranger is a bigger pickup truck than the Maverick, of course, this actually provides more rear seat legroom, over an inch more than the Ranger. Hard to believe, right?
Well,
but at least you get that with the Maverick.
The thing is, this is not built on a body-on-frame platform. So, right, you have the use of the unibody, basically borrowing from the Ford Escape platform. So sometimes unibodies just have more space.
Just get more. The lack of dash symmetry that the large center screen creates is making my eye twitch. I can't be the only one. You are not the only one. In fact, Zach drove this at a separate time from me, and I said to him, and he also agreed, he was thinking the same thing, that the screen, it doesn't bother me the size of the screen. It either needs to be tilted back or it needs to be tilted towards the driver.
I think it's an optical illusion. When I got in this, the first thing I noticed is like, wow, that's a big screen, and people like that kind of stuff. But it looks like it's tilted forward. And I got a shot from the side, and it isn't,
no.
But it's just so close. And I kind of agree with Andrea, like it's so close. If they just moved it back an inch or two, and they can do that. But anyway, here's the thing. We've had it for a week. You get used to it, and you'll enjoy it.
You certainly get used to it. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but I would like it tilted towards the driver just a little bit or back a little bit.
Hey, if you want to get a question in for a future episode, make sure to follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea. That's the official Instagram of the channel. And if you want to follow me, it's Motormouth_Auto. And the links are below the like button. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
For someone that commutes by highway every day, is the hybrid a good option?
So just as a point of reference, when we drove the hybrid initially when it first came out, the front wheel drive model, we got better than the posted fuel economy. Yeah. Now with the all-wheel drive, Andrea, we're not quite getting the posted fuel economy. So take that for what it is.
Yeah, and hybrids do better in the city than on the highway. If you get a gas model, it's the opposite. Highway driving, they have improved fuel economy versus the city. However, I just want to add that a viewer wrote in and said that this person travels on Highway 10 almost every day in the Maverick. I'm assuming it's front-wheel drive, and gets between 4.9
Wow.
to 5.3 liters per 100 kilometers. But if I'm tooling around town in the city, it's closer to 6 liters per 100 kilometers. So it's kind of the opposite of what the EPA numbers are showing.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that in mind.
But to your question, could you drive it on the highway? Of course you can. And I just like the power delivery better now. So I'll give up that, I'll give up a fuel economy penalty to get the all-wheel drive. I just think it's worth it, and especially for resale value.
Exactly. Resale value is going to be much better with all-wheel drive than front-wheel drive, unless you live in California.
All right, let's get into all of the stats, including the pricing, which is vitally important right now.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. Pricing in Canada includes freight, PDI, and fees. The XL front-wheel drive model starts at just under $37,000, and the first all-wheel drive model is just under $39,500. In the US, the XL front-wheel drive model starts at just over $28,000, and the XL all-wheel drive is just under $30,500.
Here is the all-wheel drive fuel economy, 5.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 6.9 on the highway. That's 40 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway. All-wheel drive towing capacity is 4,000 pounds when you equip it with the 4K tow package. The warranty is 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, or 36,000 miles. Lightning round, two things we like to see improved.
I love the whole overall package of Maverick.
I want this truck.
I'd love to see an adjustment of the larger screen, either pushed back or tilted towards the driver.
And it's not really a negative. I just want Ford to keep an eye on the pricing, you know? I don't want that creep, because that's the whole thing. This thing was affordable. That's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
All right, there it is. It's the updated hybrid Ford Maverick. What do you guys think of that?
Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.